well, absolutely making nothing known other than the fact that they consider themselves to be the best team in this division. And, well, the best team in this group for sure. As like you said, they have yet to lose. They've only lost a single map, whereas on the other side, Murray State have only won one. And they've also all played the exact same teams up until this point in the season. So that makes it very easy for us, from the caster's point of view, to have good optics. And for reference, it's basically exact opposites every single time these teams played each other in terms of how the results went. Kettering got a 2-0 over RMU. RMU Academy Red, specifically that roster, was the only team that Murray State Blue were able to get any maps off of. And, you know, like you said, other than that, they haven't won a single map. 2-0'd by Northwood, 2-0'd by University of Michigan, and then a forfeit win against Eagles Copper. Same thing for Kettering, but where Murray State Blue were 2-0'd by Northwood and Michigan, Kettering State Academy won 2-0 against Northwood and then 2-1 against Michigan. So, safe to say, they're coming in as the favorites, and, well, it's going to be up to Murray State Blue to turn that on their heads.
We'll see if Murray State Blue can actually take them down, because we are getting into the thick of it. There are continuously less and less weeks for these teams to make their names known, and this is probably one of the last few times that Murray State is going to be able to show everybody the possibility that they can actually play up against those big dogs, because we're in week 6. It's very far into this season. We get into the playoffs, and we're not going to have a very good standing, and you might not even make the playoffs if you're Murray State. Like I said, they'll get one last chance, and it's going to be on a very familiar map pool that a lot of collegiate knows. Basics at the end of the day.
Yeah, we have the graphic this week, and we were going to show it to you, but V spoiled it. There goes the magic of the broadcast. But Oregon Club and Chalet, we probably could have guessed this even if we didn't see the map veto. This is quite literally the, if you had to guess, 3 maps that were going to be played by any given team in like collegiate or tier 4 that's less experienced. It's these 3. We talk about it all the time. People have played them for a long time. A lot of these teams maybe don't have all that experience together on game day. These are the kinds of maps that you're going to start off together. You'll scrim these sooner. You're more likely to get these strats down on these kinds of maps. And, well, I guess at this point in the season, they're not quite willing to take the risks and delve into deeper aspects of their map pool. I am a little disappointed about Kettering specifically not taking us to something unique, because you're 4-0 within your group by this point in the season. You don't have much to lose. You can try and take us to, like, a cafe even, or, like, a concert or labs if you really wanted to, but I understand that's kind of out there. Just something a little bit out of the ordinary to test your map pool and test your strats on game day, so that going into the playoffs, you know that you have more than just Chalet, Oregon, Clubhouse, and maybe 1 or 2 other maps. I would have liked personally to see them go for something like that. However, back to the old reliable, can never complain per se from the perspective of a player about these 3 maps. You really know what you're doing, and you're sure that you'll put your best foot forward on game day.
Yeah, I just think there's no reason. If you know you can beat everybody, why tempt fate? It's simply, if they're better at the defaults, better at what makes each tick, the fundamentals, because that is what usually is tested when you go to something like Oregon, when you go to something like Clubhouse. I have to believe in Kettering Academy that they know what they are doing. I want to remind everybody that this is the first day of the new season. It's a little shocking that all the servers went fine, all the custom games have gone fine considering the past launches that Siege has had on its season, but we also get to see the new meta. We will potentially get to see Deimos, the new ACOGs that are going to be in play. It should make for some nice, fresh new gameplay as we get through the first couple bans. It's going to be Maverick, which might end up taking a Kaid off the board, because just like Thermite and Thatcher, those two are always together.
Dokkanate taken off as well, though that one kind of a ban of its own in a vacuum, not necessarily to counter any specific defenders. But Mira will be taken off the board first. That one also a very common Oregon ban. terms of specifically trying to shut down the use of those mirrors historically on the basement. Although technically the meta has kind of shifted in a way that, you know, there are so many strong defenders, like the big 4 or 5 that always see ban, as well as maybe a Warden or a Wamai in this case to play towards Pillar, that you don't necessarily need a Mira back there. It's still good to take off the board if you're playing up against a team that, you know, probably has some of those Mira strats still heavily incorporated. And would you look at that? They've even changed the Observer UI for us. They've even changed that, tweaked that just a little bit.
Oh yeah,
the names up top.
Starting to notice it. That's actually pretty clean. I like
I like
that.
it.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. Look, first season starts out pretty good. I think I've had the opportunity to see the new ACOGs to kind of test out some of the waters, and it's pretty enjoyable. I'm of the belief that ACOGs are just more fun in general, just because it's nice to have that little zoom in, have that more precision. And so we'll see some of that on the defensive end. The only one here who can actually bring it is going to be Dirty Dan on the TCSG. We also get a little bit of that Azami rework. Recently, she got changed so that her barriers have, I believe it is 999 HP. And eventually you can wear it down with bullets, explosives, all that type. So you kind of have the incentive to bring those DMRs, which have high damage per shot. But right now, Kettering Academy, they're just not going to do anything different. Bring some standard play. You got that buck, got that gridlock in for some extra flair.
Meanwhile, MSU opt to bring the cap can forward in game number 1. Of course, we have the background knowledge that MSU, perhaps a bit of a struggling team so far this season, and that may speak to inexperience, it may speak to a lack of confidence. Capcan definitely a solid pick if either of those are your problems, because those would both mean, you know, harder to take some fights. You can bring an operator that can get you the kills without needing to take those fights, especially if KU aren't as diligent as they might want to be. But Badman is going to start off relatively diligent, at the very least diligent enough to find Curiosity wherever he lie and find that kill to start us off. As Azami taken off of the board real quick, those 999 HP barricades that you were talking about, well, Azami herself has got 0 HP for the remainder of this round.
Yeah, that's going to hurt you because you're not really going to be able to get anything done with those Kiba barriers. So I think holding down this oil pit area is going to be pretty difficult, especially because you're not going to be able to deploy Kiba barriers on the soft wall as well to give yourself any little bit of reprieve. Both the Buck and the Gridlock seeming to throw a bit of utility as the EMP is dedicated just to make sure that Revenant doesn't take any little bit of damage. Now the attack is ready to strike. They've got drones, they've got time. They can take this with leisurely ease because they have that one-man advantage, but they have to worry about Sour Twist all the way in the lobby. Nobody's worrying about them, but if you eliminate the players on the site themselves, it makes those roamers a lot less efficient.
They are starting to worry about Sour. In the meantime, they've gotten 2 kills on the players on the site themselves. It's left just the Jaeger alone. That's Amsim, who's able to find one, but the jump in from Big Window will deal with him. And now it's just left to Sour Twist, that oh-so-important roamer that you were talking about, is able to get 1 kill, not by way of his gun, but by way of the Capcan traps. Just a coincidence that he was still alive to see it happen, but still. 3 players to deal with, and this is one of the problems with roaming down below. As good as it is to be able to deny stuff from downstairs, when you're left last alive, it can be really hard to get back into the mix, but he's almost hit Cryin with just enough shots to get the kill. But now instead, he's got a 1-on-3 still to deal with, and the Thatcher, though he almost lost the fight from below, will not lose the head-to-head gunfight. And well, round number 1 will not be lost by Kettering ACAT.
Pretty blatant that Kettering Academy have that aggressiveness. They have that confidence that you usually see from teams who are up on the higher in the standings, taking on teams down below them. Because I mean, they are a team that has got here with a lot of round wins in between them. If you take a look at the round difference, they've won 7-2. 7-2, 7-1, 7-4. They only have lost 1 map, and another one was in max regulation. Both of those were against the University of Michigan, simply because I think they are a team that can take these gunfights and win them pretty handily with all of it not in one person's hand. Mark Badman was able to get that first pick. They only ended up with 2. It was spread all across the team and only 1 actual kill on the side of MSU Blue. It is the first round, so we can't really go around making these general statements just yet, but I don't think what Kettering Academy are doing is really going to stop anytime soon unless they're directly stopped. Unless somebody on MSU Blue can hold a gun to their own or simply outplay them with utility.
Yeah, we were watching Cade last round, and it felt like the instant he got pressured, he just fell away immediately. And MSU Blue, I guess, falling back, not taking aggressive enough gunfights, and maybe where they did, not finding enough success inside them. They'll still go back to the second floor, though, as they feel like they've got something on this site that warrants giving it another go before switching things up, at the very least giving it one other go. And we've seen the appearance of both different ACOG sites thus far into the round. Both the remodeled 1.5 as a 2.5 and the OG ACOG that wasn't quite a 2.5 exactly, but has been over-magnified over the last few years. I feel like that 1.5 scope is so chunky. So
It's very thick.
it seemed a little awkward to watch at first, but eventually, I'm sure everyone will get used to it. For now, I feel like ACOG definitely going to be the typical preference, and we see that across a lot of different players, with no one on the attack really running that reflex scope. General consensus so far seems to be if you can bring an ACOG, bring it, in spite of the downsides that it does come with the people we're talking about when it was brought back into the game. So that's already very interesting to see.
Seeing Dan still in the same spot as Curiosity falls again in that opening pick, and Dirty Dan doesn't even fall back. They die in oil. Sour is still going to walk to the armory, but there isn't a drone to counteract that flank, so they can be as aggressive as they want. But Kettering are in sight. There's nobody to stop them getting that plant down, but equal man count.
Huge kill on that flank from Sour. Another one comes through, but because they're focusing so heavily on this flank and on the site itself, no one able to play C4 from below. But Sour Twist doesn't need a C4 from below. He'll just retake straight from the floor itself. He's been knocked down and finished off, though, by Chop. So a 2-on-2, and that flank play no longer in the picture. That was very promising for this defensive retake, but it's still going well without him. Amsim able to get one, but now he's got to get the next as he's left in a one-on-one against Infamous. Biohazard down, Infamous in the corner, and the Kiba barricade working against the defenders. The Azami utility. You can shoot it down now, but you couldn't do it in that kind of a situation. You ran the risk of Infamous swinging. He'll swing anyways, and he'll win the round anyways, though. An outstanding start for Kettering.
It's unfortunate to see that go the way for Murray State, because initially it seems like almost an exact repeat of the previous round, but somehow even worse, you lose the player in oil way earlier, and the diffuser is going down with not a lot of contention from the players inside of the site, but the post-plant play was pretty impressive. I loved seeing that from Sour Twist, the flank working out, the drone that was there previously, I talked about it, that wasn't there, which made the flank that much more potent. Kettering Academy still go on their reign. They were still allowed so much access, and that can't happen. As good as your post-plant can be, there was really no feasible way that the attack should be able to get within the site within 45 seconds. It might not have been that exactly, but it was so early compared to what you usually want. That's really the main problem for MSU. They haven't been able to put up any counter pressure within those first 2 rounds.
Attackers are moving to defuse a bomb.
You feel like some more live info near the objective itself would help, so very happy to see Maestro cams being brought out, because that'll help some of your players on the objective know when to time their swings, where to look when they swing, and that's something that really gives the defense a big advantage. Feel like we haven't seen MSU do that so much, or have that info so much, so again, Maestro, good adjustment for Curiosity. Also, pretty good on this site. Denying a plant is often what it comes down to, and Maestro has some of the most plant denial util of anyone in the game now that he's got 3 separate cameras. Sour Twist back on Capcan. Mid-round trap, 40 seconds in, almost spotted by Arc. And because he spots that out, he should be able to know there are traps nearby. Also, the drones pinged one, so that helps even more. And this roam game will pretty quickly clear that cap can away. However, still a solid roam by Sour, as now they'll be looking around for a cap can that is back on the site. And, well, that's some extra time wasted, so Sour's done his job this early on. And Kettering, already a minute in, just barely getting control of that second floor on a basement site.
Yeah, they haven't done much at all. And usually what you see from a basement side attack is you take the time to get those hatches to clear out utility. And so far, Kettering haven't done any of that. I mean, they got open blue. The Flores drone wasn't successful because of the mute jammer. So we'll see a very quick and fast drop from Kettering. I'm expecting maybe one player goes freezer, one goes electrical, and it's simply going to be up to the guns of MSU. If players like Biohazard, like Dirty Dan, can hold their ground, use the Maestro and the Jaeger ADSs to success, I expect this round to go the way of MSU Blue, but they have to get that opening pick. Because this basement site is all about momentum. Crying, even though the Jackal Ping is there, the Black Eye is absolutely going to help them out. The Evil Eye as well, and MSU are able to get that first opening pick.
Very good start for MSU Blue. They haven't been able to do that thus far through the game. Even last round, it was good. They were able to respond well, but they weren't able to start things off. And now that Kettering have responded, can MSU bring a response of their own back into it? Dirty Dan eventually will, but two of his teammates have died in that time. Infamous able to step in for one more, and though, and Ark has gotten yet another. Now it's just left to Dirty Dan. Good info, though, and this is what I was talking about with those Maestro cams. He can play off of that info that they're getting on those scans. With the shotgun, look in the wrong direction. He was shot in the back. He's so low now. And the suppressed PDW will eventually put him down. MSU Blue looked pretty good at the start, but Kettering just take control of this site anyway.
It's unfortunate because I think that was great for Murray State. I mean, you saw it from that opening swing from Biohazard, despite the fact that Crine clearly has the confidence, clearly has the Jackal track. The information is, by and large, way better than what the attack has. They start getting that momentum, and I just don't think they can hit those shots in the end. That's really nothing else. Go call a spade. Kettering Academy are better gunners than MSU, and that's going to kill a lot of your strategies at the end of the day when you can set all of these great plans up, and they work, but Kettering can simply shoot better. And unless that changes, I don't know if Murray State is really going to be able to get anything done, because it's like I said at the first round, it's not just one person. Everybody can shoot back, and that's the difficult part from Murray State.
10 seconds to go.
One of the biggest challenges that you as a player need to learn to overcome. These guys are shooting better. I feel like I personally cannot do anything in individual fights right now. How can I fix this? What do I do? Siege is a game where you can't just like throw your hands up and say, oh, well, I did my best. You know, it's not like on other shooters where, you know, it's very heavily based around gunplay. You could try and take a step back, but if enough people are playing poorly, you can't do anything about it. We'll have to see what MSU Blue choose to do. As in terms of lineup, they haven't switched up too much, but big lineup change coming into this round, V. Crying's on Deimos.
Oh, running the AK. I've made my stance on Deimos' loadout clear. Real Deimos gamers run the shotgun. You use that revolver as your primary. And I know we're in a competitive scene, but come on. Whip that one times out and use those death marks. But it seems that Crine is simply going to be an entry of their own, not much assistance around them. Which is interesting. I wonder if they actually don't have those tracks that you need to have as Deimos. Otherwise, Biohazard would be forced back, which you usually would expect. And that's the problem. I just don't think Crine actually has the ability to scan Biohazard.
For now, hasn't done too much. I believe he's starting to... Yeah, he's thinking about it. He's thinking about using the Deimos gadget. There we go.
It's not going to do much when everybody's
he scanned Valkyrie. Deathmark is active. He scanned Valkyrie. But yeah, I don't love that use of it, you know? And that's going to happen. New operator. there are going to be some bumps in terms of how it is to play as them. You fully clear a roam and then you accidentally are like, oh, well, let me see if I can hunt someone down, but, you know. At least they now know that they have fully cleared that roam. Granted, you also brought the Jackal for that reason, so a little bit redundant use of the gadget there, but still, seeing a new operator, so it'll always be fun. Minute to go, though, and Kettering ACAD still maybe a little slower than last time, but basically just trying to figure out where they want to end, and I'm thinking it may be a similar ending to last time. They try and gun forward through Freezer and Laundry, and Ark is actually going to start off with an opening pick. Amson, able to trade that back out, though, and a C4 from Sour Twist is going to soar into Freezer and take down Ark. So a man advantage for MSU Blue, with the remaining attackers kind of all funneling through the same area. It's just left to Infamous and Revenant. It looked like Revenant tried to go for a flank play. It was not meant to be. And so second time on the 4th round is the charm indeed for MSU Blue. As they're finally able to make something work on the basement objective, it's only left to Infamous. As Curiosity, the only one who's died on MSU Blue, all of his teammates have 10 seconds to not die, and in an unlosable position for MSU, and Sour Twist will close very solid from them.
I want to ask your opinion on something. Did you notice anything different that MSU Blue did on that defense?
I'd say that they were a little more proactive towards Freezer. And that helped.
Is that it?
That was something that I noticed. I don't know. You asked for something I noticed.
Yeah.
This is your job. What am I?
Okay, well, hold. There's a reason, and it's because I don't think they really did. They had a lot of utility towards Freezer in round 4. Like, they maybe have had like a couple of bodies closer, maybe over by that pillar area, but overall, Kettering Academy simply lost the fight. I feel like I'm not doing my job when I say that everything comes down to these gunfights, but that, a lot of times, is how the Oregon basement site works. As the attack, you don't have any vertical play to work with besides the hatches, so you can either drop those or walk down the 3 stairs that are available to you, or simply access Blue Bunker. Kettering Academy went down those Freezer stairs in round 4, and then kind of did a little bit of a split with more of a Laundry push that time, and they could not find the angles that MSU Blue were offering them. They couldn't hit the shots. That's really the only difference, Happy. And something did change, and that was MSU Blue were able to win that, and look at that. They get that round win once they can actually shoot back.
I should have said that. You would have been really annoyed if I said that.
What, all of that?
No, not all of that. No, I would have said, what change? You ask what changed, and I go, well, MSU Blue were actually able to win that round. And, unlike in round 3, in which they did
That's
not
my job. You're supposed to give me like...
win the round.
Oh my god,
Revenant
smoked.
just walks forward and kills Sour Twist. Proactive early round from Kettering. There have been a couple of times where they've been pretty close to catching roamers, namely last round. Revenant almost caught someone out in tower, but just wasn't quick enough to swing. So I like that. You get into tower, you immediately start to take control, you immediately start to swing people, and you immediately get a kill as a reward. So a wonderful start in this round for Kettering, and now they don't seem to be doing anything too differently attacking-wise. To your point, last round, Kettering basically just not changing anything since they understand that it works. But in this case, they've got a man advantage this early this time, which is already a better start than they've had in previous rounds.
It's almost the exact same type of play. Revenant and Shot pushing through the attic, and most of the other players opening that master bedroom walk-in wall and pushing through armory. Crying is going to be able to go down. So Curiosity, they've been an early death a lot of times, but the ability to actually fight back, have those Zodo canisters, have that C4 is a huge thing to work overall. Another Zodo canister is going to be used to actually try to slow down Infamous with the C4 falling on through. And I don't... Oh, they faked it. So, now a 3v3 as Curiosity still holds on to it.
So a lot of time. There's the info, but you were talking about it. End of the day, you can have all the info, you can have all the setup you want, but You gotta win a gunfight, and Curiosity had a live yellow ping as to where that player was, needed to win that fight. Didn't. Now it's left to Am and Dan to try and make something happen. They are very much trapped here, and the track stingers aren't going to make things any easier. C4 allowed to exist, though. He didn't even try and shoot it. He simply said, I pretend I do not see it. And Chop definitely sees Dirty Dan on his swing wide, eventually able to counter the Kaid and trade out his teammate who died trying to get the plant down. And now it's just left to Amsim again, stuck in this Dorm's position. And Ark will catch him on his cross into Attic, or at least his attempted cross. He won't get very far in doing so. And MSU won't get very far after winning their first round. It's right back to a Kettering W.
For MSU Blue, they've gone to each site twice. They went to dorms twice, lost that. The second time they did go to basement, they won it. But like I said when I was analyzing it, I think that is just how basement works as a site. You have a huge natural defense basically set around you, and that's not the case for dorms. There are a lot of soft walls, a lot of windows where you can potentially be shot from, and Kettering Academy really do use that. They have done the same thing 3 times. I've been able to call it out. Revenant and Chop push through Attic. That walk-in wall gets open, you have Infamous holding it, everybody else pushes through that trophy area, and yet somehow MSU Blue have fallen to it all 3 times. The C4 was an interesting play that Kettering Academy just kind of let happen in the end there, and I do think the plant denial is a nice change of pace that didn't seem to happen, but overall, if you're not able to win the fights with the same thing happening over and over again, I suggest you just change some utilities. I don't know, bring a smoke, something that forces something out of your defensive hand.
Would definitely help. Changing just a little bit. The Wamai, first time he's been seeing play, very least on this
It's
site.
not like a game changer, though. Why is it not a game
No, it isn't. Yeah, like, I don't think that's necessarily what they needed. I feel like it's a misdiagnosis of your issues if you think we need to deny nades. I'd even say that there has been a distinct lack of nade usage and things that Wamai is good at denying from Kettering ACAT. So, getting into round number 6, we'll see if that does make a big difference. And he's dead. And he is dead.
Woo! That is,
Didn't
well,
even give me a chance to make it exciting.
it's really unfortunate for Curiosity, because 4
Yeah.
rounds in a row, they have been the opening pick. And a lot of times,
Oof.
they've been on Azami those first couple rounds. They were on Tubarao, and now on Wamai. Dirty Dan, though, they've hopped from that TCSG onto that 9mm that Kaid actually has. And instead of being passive like we've usually seen from Dirty Dan, they're being a little bit proactive. We use that word a lot, and it's because sometimes it dictates the pace. I think Dirty Dan can really dictate the pace on whether or not MSU Blue can make it 4-2, or just essentially let Kettering Academy walk over them.
Yeah, MSU Blue have been doing a lot of falling back, as Dirty Dan seems to be doing that out of Attic again, but I want him to stay here. The falling back strat hasn't been working, so do something that they're not expecting and try and take the fight to them actively. Make a play where if you lose, okay, well, I tried. At the very least, I didn't try to do the same thing that isn't working, but if you win, it could very easily throw a wrench in the plans, as Ark Badman trying to do just that. Go to White Stairs, an unexpected angle for the defense that to deal with now. And he's also caught 1. So now the Valkyrie hold up inside server, very much stuck. Amsim basically alone on the objective. Does have Case down on the inside of Trophy Door, but could very easily be denied of said Case. Ark's gonna walk up the staircase and try and deny him outright his ability to live, but the pistol 1v1 isn't gonna go his way. Chop's still getting the plant down though, because Revenant's inside of Dorms, and he can watch this Jaeger's cross from out of Dorm's corner, and a wonderful headshot through the wall will do the trick. It's only left to Sour Twist 1-on-2 against Chop and Rev, and already able to get 1. Chop now left inside of games up against the wall, but the wall not broken open, so he's got the room to work with. He knows where Sour's coming from, and he will have this angle to swing the Peeker's advantage is going to be used perfectly as Kettering. Not quite perfect in this half, but pretty darn close as they go 5-1 on their attacks to start Oregon.
It's pretty expected for what we see on paper from these two teams. Kettering Academy using the attack's aggression, as a lot of times you can push those defenders back unless they can really offer something of substance, which we just haven't seen from MSU Blue. I think even with the changes we've seen, which aren't really anything, I mean, the game is still going to be defender-sided, because there was the Azami rework, there was the Finka change where she no longer, like, buffs reload speed. Was there anything else overall from balance changes when it came to utility?
I don't think anything major. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Basically, this whole seasonal update isn't going to be about utility. It's not going to be about operators. It's about guns. It's about attachments, optics, something that Kettering Academy have used to perfection. The zoom sights simply are overpowering MSU Blue. And as we swap those sides, MSU Blue get full access to those ACOGs, as Kettering Academy only bring Chop with the ACOG and the Mort 14, my favorite combo of all time. And we'll see if those sight changes that came with new season really can help MSU Blue get out of their hole.
Yeah, I would like to say that it's a scope issue, like an issue of comfort on the new patch, but this does seem to be in line with what we were expecting given these teams' track records, given how many games they've already played this season and how they've done in said games. I don't want to say that, you know, MSU Blue aren't a good team, rather that Kettering Academy playing a lot better this season. So, MSU Blue, we're going to have to be pretty darn comfortable on the new patch just to have a chance at looking pretty solid. Granted, this is only map 1 as well. We got to give them a little bit more of a chance back in. This is also Kettering's map selection. So heading into Clubhouse, we could see a better side of MSU Blue. We might also be seeing a very attacking-sided team as MSU Blue. Switch over to that half, and Curiosity making a lot of work happen on the Brava, but otherwise a distinct lack of progress by this attack so far.
I'd be kind of impressed to see like a T4 team or collegiate team that is better at attack than defense. Because objectively, attack is harder to do than defense because it requires a lot more coordination, less individualism, which is something we usually can see at these lower levels. And so far, MSU Blue, half of the round gone. They've been able to coordinate pretty well to get that wall open, as Biohazard is alone. Doesn't have that camaraderie that you sometimes want on this flank clear, which does make this very dangerous, because if they go down, then MSU Blue have simply left one player on their lonesome to die, and they haven't taken care of anybody, which makes the flank option that much more dangerous.
Nice start for Cryan as he'll take down Biohazard. Down goes that Yana. That lurker towards bottom white stairs was going to be so important, and they hadn't cleared dorms, but Curiosity still tried anyways. Curiosity just killed Curiosity. Don't call him the cat. Well, trying to see if anybody was still in that corner. Maybe they didn't have any drones left on either of those players, and they will die as a result. Cryan also going to get a kill towards lobby, and Sour not any longer going to be a factor in this round. Sim and Dirty Dan now have to try and make something happen, but they are very much separated from each other. Kind of representative of the entire problem with the round. The whole attacking strategy felt like it was, you know, one side and then another side, and then both sides will crumble, leaving one player on both sides. And, well, they're very far away from each other. It wasn't gonna work off of it. I didn't phrase that well, but you'll probably do that now, because that's your job.
I think we see very basics of what Kettering tried to do on their attack, which is just kind of how a Dorms attack works, where you try to get the bedroom and try to get the attic open. MSU Blue just weren't able to put the pieces together. That's it at the end of the day. Kettering Academy, guns are better. They're able to take that map control a lot quicker as the attack, which is something we don't see from MSU Blue. I think this map might be kind of a wash. Happy. It's Oregon. We've already gone through 7 of these rounds with Kettering taking 6 of them on their own map pick. We start to focus on Clubhouse, which is going to be a difficult one to kind of change from Oregon because both are fundamentalist maps. They work on how good you are at the very basics of Siege, and Kettering have at least shown that they are better than MSU Blue in this match. And unless something changes, maybe one person really just charges forward for MSU Blue. I think, like I said, I kind of call it here. I want to see Curiosity on the Deimos get things done, because he can really show up if you get him the right scenario.
Realized how I should say what I was trying to say. A big window push and a dorms push don't really work together. You could see the players trying to move into dorms, but there was still someone in trophy and someone in attic that could pressure the players trying to move into master bedroom. You saw MSU Blue trying to play that position on their defense, but they couldn't because there was pressure coming in from attic. So Dirty Dan had to watch multiple angles all at once, and that is very difficult to do. MSU Blue, instead of pressuring attic, send people big window, but like those two pushes don't help each other at all. They both exist and they both put pressure, yes, but you should try and do a push in general where both aspects of it are going to make it easier for the other aspect of the push, which is why it worked so well when Kettering did it, because they all, tried to make one fell swoop, one big motion into the map. As now, already in one motion, MSU Blue making it pretty far, and Curiosity even able to start the round off with a kill onto Arcbad. So, I don't mind this round early on for MSU Blue, as Kettering maybe looking a little shaky once they hit match point.
Curiosity pushing up. I know I may have not saying my praises about the AK, but Curiosity really is making it work now, having 2 on the round with Sour picking up 1 of their own. And now you still have, I believe, 1 currently going off of Chop and then 1 in the pocket for Curiosity. Not exactly sure how the UI is working from the observer side of view, but that bearing 12 is not going to be your friend at range. And Infamous bringing that shotgun makes this long-range approach that much more difficult. Dirty Dan does get down, but only the bearing 9 has a chance to bring this back, and it does not do that. A nice little flawless round coming out from MSU Blue to maybe change things around.
That initially feels like it's like a meeting kitchen defense with how the roam was going. Maybe not a meeting kitchen defense because they were into kitchen initially. But that was a very heavy contest of roam from Kettering. And I think you're seeing there just a little bit why it doesn't happen. Because a lot of the times Oregon roams, it's very hard to control a lot of area that isn't like, just laundry or meeting or kitchen, and it's hard to control all 3 of those at once. It's even hard to just control kitchen and meeting. As you can see pretty early on, the Kettering were abandoning that hold pretty fast. And then once you're sitting in meeting, unless you have the hatches open, you're just kind of waiting for people to close in from either rear stage or in from kitchen, as you had opened rotation holes there, and they also had a Deimos, or from split. Just any one of those angles. There are so many different ways to pinch you, and you're just standing in an open area hoping you get the right play and guess the right angle they're going to swing. Even if you have the hatches open, you're not necessarily going to have so much success. But Kettering ACAD just kind of fell back on that roam, but didn't fall back fast enough, or didn't fall back enough at all to actually get out of the way from MSU Blue, so they basically gave away 1 or 2 picks. And then from there, the round fell apart. You could still hold a basement site with only, a 1 or 2 player disadvantage, but still, it's not easy. With a site like that, you want to play to the advantage, and the strength of the site is the site itself.
Yeah, I kind of got to agree with you there. Especially because Deimos isn't going to be the most effective to teams that do play around the site, because his job is to hunt down those individual roamers with that 44 that he's got, and we didn't really see that. A lot of times, the death mark was used on someone like Kaid, I believe was used to potentially push back crime in that Z area. And the fact that Curiosity got most of the kills with the AK, which you actually can't use the AK while you have the death marks active, so kind of is like a, you get kills with the AK, you're not technically using your gadget one-on-one, it's, a weird interaction there is a weird interaction right here, as Chomp has set up a Fortnite base for MSU Blue to get through.
Well, just like Fortnite nowadays, it's like you built that out of wood, because you can shoot it down as the attacking side. And maybe they don't realize that, but he is kind of sitting on a throne of lies right now. Of just, you can't peek me because I am standing here. He still has Kiba barriers for it, and it is really annoying to do all of that. In the meantime, 3 people have died. I don't know what just happened, but now it's just Sour Twist and Curiosity. And so, though it was delayed just 1 round, the seemingly inevitable fate of MSU Blue seems to be happening. And Kettering ACAD seem to be on the very good end of this game. As 7-2, likely going to be the scoreline unless Sour Twist and Curiosity pull off a miracle. And if anybody could, I think Sour Twist would be involved, the only one positive on his team so far. But still not going to be an easy task to get done, even if you have 8 kills, because you're playing 5 people. Like, you'd need to get to 13 or something to make this happen. He's just going to jump in the window. He simply doesn't care. And Curiosity, baiting outside of White Stairs, has got no chance.
Woo, 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 woo. When you get a headshot with that thing, it feels nice. It's nice and crisp. As Curiosity does spot the Valkyrie with that death mark through the wall over by that White Stairs, but can't really do much about it in this scenario. And with 15 seconds left, I don't even know if you're going to be able to get a single death mark off with the 44 Magnum, the AK. Get 1 more kill, pad your stats. Either way, Kettering Academy are winning Oregon, taking us to Clubhouse. And yeah, you add 1 more, but still 3 players left alive. Diffuser not going down. We're heading to Clubhouse.
In fact, we are. Kettering able to take their own map selection, 7-2. And now it is Clubhouse on the cards. That won the choice of MSU, so if they were going to make a comeback, it would pull this win out because they could definitely use it at just 1-3 up against the 4-0 Kettering.
That's what you and I were talking about, though. Is anything going to change from map 1 into map 2? Talked about how both of these maps have been played to death. You're not really going to be able to get any unique strategy, so it's simply going to be a test of fundamentals, and Kettering were the better ones. We are going to have Kettering start on the defense, so the 1 attacking round that we actually saw MSU win, maybe we could see more of that, which would enable us to actually start believing in them for just a little bit, because a 7-2 scoreline over on Oregon isn't the most inspiring thing. But like I said, Murray State, I mean, in those 3 rounds, they got as many wins as they did within 6 rounds. So I don't know, you could do some math, like some probability. Attack looks better for MSU technically.
Yeah, but only because the attacks from Kettering looked great and the MSU defenses looked kind of rough. And coming in from Oregon, I don't want to say, like, you'll be more prepared on this map, because in theory, you should be prepared for Oregon just about as much as you've been prepared for anything in your life. But even still, Clubhouse, again, they chose to go here, so that would indicate, at least to our eyes, our uninformed on the happenings of the team behind the scenes eyes, that is, that, well, they should be, at least to a degree, prepared for the defense on Clubhouse. Deimos is, in fact, gone. You're right. Doe could be gone for the 2nd map in a row. But yeah, we won't see any more one-time scope revolver gaming. And you're clearly sad about it.
That's why?
Because he's good.
He's not.
He's not good?
Well, he's good, but I don't think he's good enough to warrant a ban. Like, I don't know. Especially for Kettering to take another one. I think it's because Curiosity got a 2K. And they're like, you know what? No more. We're not going to allow this character to be brought, even though you could technically just bring it on Nomad, because Curiosity didn't really use the death marks that well. So Look, that's definitely the power that we have to have that hindsight, but we're completely ignoring the newest operator from this season. Same with Tuberau. We're heading back to it was Fenrir before Tuberau, I think, right?
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
We're kind of forgetting
Why
the order.
can't I remember?
I know, right? Like it's Bravo Solis Fenrir, right?
Fenrir was the newest. I feel like he was. Doesn't feel that. And it was Tuberau.
Yeah, Tuberau, and then you go Fenrir.
Attackers have
No, it was
located a
Tuberau's
bomb.
the newest one. Tuberau
Yeah.
is newer than Fenrir.
I know. We're going
Oh,
in reverse
I thought
order.
you were. Okay. I thought you just said Fenrir was the newest one.
No, I'm
Other
pretty
than
sure the
Thanos.
man on the home screen that I've seen for the past 3 months was not
Okay, well you
Fenrir.
were talking about Deimos being banned. What?
We are on completely different pages here.
Yeah, I guess we are. Look,
Attackers
been a long day for me. Okay, as a collegiate student myself, I have been in class
On
since
the
8 in the
grind. On the
8 in the
grind.
morning. My Tuesdays are bad. I go.
I played the new season. That's
I
what
went
I
to
did.
class from 8 to 12:15, and then from 2 to 4. It was a bad day. But
I had
I'm
McDonald's.
I'm casting NECC now. I haven't eaten dinner. I need to eat dinner. And I got wisdom teeth surgery a couple days ago, so it kind of hurts to eat sometimes, and I feel like
Mashed
my
potatoes.
teeth are starting to act up.
Get
No, it's
some-
been
get
like
some
a
mashed
week.
potatoes.
It's been a week. Also, I'm on a college campus. What makes you think that we have access to mashed potatoes?
Mashed potatoes.
I can
are
go eat
super
chicken finger or hamburger.
cheap. Both of those are not healthy for your teeth if you're recovering.
Okay.
Saying.
Mike, take that up with my university. Anyways, a minute in, and I would say that we're relatively justified in our yapping because not much has happened yet. Curiosity just killed Biohazard, and eventually is able to get the frag on a Cryan as a result. In return, but 2 people are now looking over towards strip hall and bathroom and toilets and all that just to try and trade it out, but he's not going to give them the opportunity. Instead, Amsim able to get the next one onto Chop. So now this has turned into a main advantage for MSU Blue with half the round still to go. What a strange way to start a round.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of shooting through Biohazard to get that kill. Ansem has fallen. Could potentially get a revive. There's that confirmation from Ark. Now Sour Twist is alone, I think alone, over by the top table. No, they do have that player directly behind them, but you're still kind of at an impasse. Unless Dirty Dan can get a good pinch over from Cash, which is a very big if, because it's essentially a 1v1 over here. And if that pressure is taken off by Infamous with the shotgun or the SMG-11, there's really no course of action for MSU Blue from here on out. A lot of the round comes down to if Dirty Dan can get things done. But Curiosity easing some of the pressure inside the site will make things a whole bunch easier. And that might actually allow access to that hallway.
Now they can start to walk forward. Ark, though, right here, and he's very ready for their walk up. Easy frag for the UMP, and we're down back to a 2-on-2 once more. With one still towards Cash Room, still waiting for this push in from the player inside of CC. And Sour Twisted trying to go for a plant, but Dirty Dan is in no position to try and help his teammate. So now it's just left to Ark Badman on the site as he's got the kills that he wanted on the first and even the second. Dirty Dan not allowed in, neither was his teammate before him. And the mute was off in La La Land, waiting for a push inside a Cash Room, but that's just fine. Castle's got you covered.
Dirty Dan either has to commit to that push or just completely ignore it, go highway. That is a big area that the attack can hold, which is why I was putting a lot of power into it. Because it's essentially, I kind of said it, it's a pinch that if you take that player out, you can take care of the players that maybe are inside of Logi, maybe inside of Construction. But now you just have one less player to actually help you out with that plant. Dirty Dan is essentially a missing body in that scenario. I think MSU Blue, they've got the right idea. If they hadn't lost Biohazard very early on from that roam clear, I think they've got something going there. So there is a real potential for MSU Blue going forward, as instead of going to basement, we're going on over to area, which we haven't seen, obviously, since this is UNI's first comp game on the new patch. We haven't seen how this works with the Azami rework and the shotgun as well that you will have in the hands of Chop, which I don't know if it has the ACOG. It would be very powerful if it did, which is why we could see some of these teams really do prefer it, and it does get that ACOG, so we'll have that zoom scope. Might make it a little bit more difficult to get through.
Especially in garage rafters, too. A lot of the fights you're going to take are at very far range, so being able to play with those regenerative Kivas and with a 2.5 feels like it's too good to be true. Well, it's true. Unfortunately, very slow fire rate may put you at a disadvantage unless you really land both of your first 2 shots or a majority of your early shots, because you miss 1 or 2 and then all of a sudden it might just get away from you. The whole opportunity will get away from you, because in the time it took you to shoot those 2 or 3, your opponents shot like 15 at you. And crying, trying to shoot some pot shots out the jacuzzi wall to try and make Curiosity a little more scared to get in, but he'll get in just fine. Was definitely a fan of Deimos on attack on Oregon. Not playing it here as it is banned, however, still playing that very helpful operator for clearing the roam, and that is that Jackal. And with that, they will clear out that gym bedroom side. However, only flank watch they have is some claymores, so that might be an issue. But the bigger issue is that you gotta watch ahead of you, because 2 players now have died in those head-to-head gunfights. Sour Twist first, and then Dirty Dan right after, leaving it a 2-player advantage for Kettering.
That's why the ACOG's pretty nasty, because it makes situations like that a lot more difficult. A good shot there from Biohazard, takes down Crying. There is one more player down below, but I think Revenant is going to walk up that red stairs and essentially make the roam completely disappear. Chop has fallen over by that rafters. There's something in the works here for MSU Blue. It still can all fall apart in the end if Arc or Revenant, which Arc has not died so far, they find a kill, maybe 2. The round just completely goes off the rails, but Arc falls down just in the hands of Revenant.
Nice shot for Amsim. Revenant able to get 1, but Curiosity so far forward, fearless in the face of his enemies. And he'll get right in the face of the player top red, take them down quickly, and MSU Blue able to get on the board.
Like I said, they got something cooking, Happy. There's potential with what they have, but they've got to attack the basement site, which is pretty different from these second floor sites. Obviously will still require roam clear. Maybe we'll see that from Crying, see that from Revenant. The Solus hasn't been as impactful as you or I maybe would have thought prior, but Kettering, obviously they're gonna have to maybe work a little bit harder than they did in that previous map. And I think a lot of that does come down to players like Curiosity, who did have their hero moments in the previous map, but there wasn't anything like we maybe would have saw Arc had in that first round with 4 kills, not even dying once in in that first round. So I want to see those hero plays come out from Curiosity, from Biohazard, from Ansem, because I know they have that potential.
10 seconds to go.
Potential unrealized is very disappointing, so glad to see both teams, at the very least thus far, realizing their potential on any side of the map. You'll get him, Revenant. No, you had the right idea at first.
Did that
I don't think that worked. I don't think so. I think it was just like angled really weirdly towards the pipe. Though, I don't know, it might have been inside the stall, but he did get the drone actually. So, yeah, he was onto something. Use an impact for that? No, you decide whether or not that was worth the effort, and he may not need any more impacts. Actually, no, he could still use it. Crying, though, could definitely use the ones that he still has remaining, as they are hunting him heavily towards Strip. When have you ever seen this many people in the year 2024 allocated towards a Strip roam clear in this position? Often not what you see, but in this case, it's going to start things off well for the attack. Not for too long, though, as that advantage very short-lived thanks to Revenant roaming towards Pool, able to make the trade happen, avenge his brother, falling towards Strip, and now falls back towards the bar. Revenant, decent info, but just sprints fully and a very open door. And Biohazard, well, Biohazard will kill him.
Yeah, that's it's a little bit of a difficult one. Infamous. Kind of looked like they thought they were going to be able to maybe get a free kill due to the information provided by the black guy, but Dirty Dan was ready for that. Shot that down, and now a 4v2 with so much time in MSU's pocket. You can see that Boogie just destroying so much of the floor. You've still got the Candelas, the X-Kairos that you can use. I will be very disappointed if MSU Blue aren't going to be able to walk away with this, because they've got the man count. They've got the utility that they need. And they even have those boosts if they get into a little bit of trouble. Everything is coming up them. But if Kettering can find these headshots from Chop or Arc, obviously, sometimes that's all you need.
Sour starting to get the plant down. Chop waiting for something towards Church, but he won't get too much. Won't get what he was looking for. And emerging from dirt very late is Arc bad. He'll die right afterwards. Chop will go down as well. And MSU take a lead on Clubhouse. If I'm not mistaken, their very first lead of the series.
That is their very first lead of the series, correct. And a lot of it comes down to the roam. I mean, Crying, Revenant, we were able to get one, but it was so fast. It was so effective. Even though everybody dedicated themselves to it, I think it made everything go that much quicker, which then just kind of eliminates the fact that every single person is dedicated to it. I like what I'm seeing from MSU Blue. This feels like a different team, a team that can actually fight back against some of the players that could not be stopped in that first map. MSU Blue, go back to gym. This is the only site that you lost previously, and I think it was because a couple of minor decisions late into the round, but that can be alleviated if you get those early picks like you have previously. And Revenant once again off site. We'll see another player over by this cache CCTV area. MSU Blue, they can kind of read the exact same playbook, hopefully get the exact same result.
5 seconds left before insertion.
Well, Kettering ACAT, I feel like, needs to start settling down. A couple of plays last round where it's just like, all right, guys, take a chill pill, relax, just give your opponent the respect that you know they deserve, and don't consider yourselves the winners already. Don't call it before it's done, because, well, that's the whole reason you play 3 whole maps. Maybe MSU Blue just aren't that great on Oregon today. Maybe it is just that new patch with Deimos still trying to get used to it. And Kettering ACAT accidentally helped MSU Blue out with that Deimos ban, because it was actually a big point of contention inside of MSU Blue. Regardless, they look like a new team this game, and already starting to make progress on that jacuzzi wall. Good attempt from Chop to keep it closed, but I don't think it's worth it anymore. But apparently, he thinks he still has jurisdiction over the jacuzzi wall, and he even gets the exothermic charge.
Come on, Curiosity. You got 150 bullets. This is like literally hold down left
Don't
click
put it in the middle.
at the
Don't
window.
put it in the middle.
I don't think it's at the window. There we go.
Nice.
A good play. You're kind of baiting it out with that thermite. You're forcing Chop to either dedicate to the trick, which will most likely result in death, or have to back off and acquiesce the wall. That's what should have happened in the first place. But instead, you end up with Dirty Dan dead, and a Biohazard trying to fight that roam has gone. MSU Blue, they just kind of failed to get the airplane off the ground. Once they've got that in this map so far, they've done great, but I think this one Ignition just did not catch. Instead, Amsim and Sour are left outside with not many options to actually get in the building.
I think the way MSU Blue played that situation is very telling of the fact that they themselves aren't a big fan of reaggressing, because they weren't expecting at all the way that Chop just reaggressed to try and play jacuzzi wall. Maybe it isn't the smartest play to make, but sometimes you need to make an actively not smart play just because the other team won't be expecting it. Because then not only do you stand to gain a man advantage because you got some kills, but also you stand to gain a lot of... he was just kind of... feel like
That
he just
was
walked in on him.
absolutely an accident.
He just walked in on that Jaeger just chilling in pool table. And now it's just left to Amsim. My point kind of laid to waste, but regardless, Amsim still able to get 1 kill, but now the lowest HP player in the lobby. 2 impacts and a C4 could be used, but instead Revenant He'll just take care of him the old-fashioned way. And Kettering up another round as we're back to 2 apiece.
Yeah, it's just kind of an awkward one to end at the end of the day for MSU Blue. I think I said everything I needed to in that round. Can focus on what is going to happen in the future with Kettering Academy guaranteeing themselves a 2-4, and as we saw on Oregon, they are a good attacking team, but a 4-2 is still in contention for them. Bringing the Azami once again for that Raptors, but a couple of changes really worth mentioning. Ella, which I want to see where Ark is going to be playing those, and a Caveira, which I think has been spotted by Sour Twist drones. Gonna swap a couple of things up. They bring that Monty, still put themselves on the Jackal. What is Kettering cooking here? Because this completely is a different strategy than what we saw from before. Almost no plant denial, almost no wall denial.
10 seconds to go.
Really different. Is that a good thing?
5 seconds remaining.
Well, didn't work last time. So they seem to be very confident in their roam game based on how they're picking their composition coming into this round. You double down on it with a Caveira, and you still have the Solus, you still have the Ella, and even then, Azami, a relatively mobile operator, obviously going to be played towards Garage, but can still flex to a degree. It's really just Infamous who kind of, you would say, has to play towards the site. If at first you don't succeed, try again, I guess, with this position over inside of Strip. Oh, no!
Don't go for
You
the
can't
interrogation.
just,
Don't go for the
don't do it.
interrogation.
Don't do it. You know
There we
he's
go.
there. There we go. Biohazard, able to only watch as Cryan kills his teammate. Then through the wall, able to get that kill, but Revenant here to avenge his brother. And an outstanding frag to find as Cryan knocked, will get picked back up. Can't pick Chop back up, though. He's jumped out, died to a Claymore. Still a one-player advantage, though, to Kettering Academy. And a pretty solid start, all things considered, especially considering that roam clear probably should have gone a little smoother.
Revenant really pulled a tell my mother I love her, tell her yourself type play. Because it seemed like Cryan was completely dead to rights given how good MSU Blue's attacks were. Because a lot of times prior, they would throw like 3 players onto a singular person that was over by Strip. And a lot of times that was Cryan. Good play by Revenant. Heads up thinking, realizing that it's extremely similar to what you've seen before. So trying to avenge your fallen comrade. That's a second Claymore kill. Is that also Ansim's second Claymore kill? That's why you bring. That's why they changed it. So you have 2 Claymores specifically so that can happen. And now because of that, it is still winnable for MSU Blue. Cryan does not have much utility. Revenant may not be able to get really much at this stage of the game. You just gotta hit your shots.
Cryan's still around as well. Caught on drone, so they'll know that he's flanking. They're gonna smoke it off. So,
I don't literally
strange
don't even
smoke.
push.
Oh,
Okay.
nice shot from Sour Twist, though. And he'll eliminate the flank. That's a good start. However, you need to make progress elsewhere. Opening up that cache wall would absolutely help a ton for right now, as Dirty Dan otherwise just needs to force his way in through this cache door, and Sour Twist will have to find somewhere else to go. I'm guessing CC window. Revenant, stop looking there. There's clearly nobody there. You have an outstanding power position. Never mind. I eat my words, as Sour Twist is in fact rotating towards Garage, but Dirty Dan just ran into cache, completely isolated from his teammate in the meantime. Smoke out for Sour Twist. His best play is, I guess, to try and stick it. I don't know. Clearly he didn't know either, because he just ran into the building, and Revenant will happily capitalize on that free pick. Kettering back in the lead.
I have a lot of bones to pick with everything that just happened. I think Cryan you gotta play the time. You have 30 seconds left to defend. That is, you're essentially in that situation. 4th man, no health, and Caveira is not very well known for her head-to-head gunfight ability. Just play that time. That is all that you need to do. It's kind of hard to manifest the minor decisions, but I think that's just the area that we're at. Happy, the kind of level sometimes with these collegiate players. Crying's still going to be on the Caveira, and MSU are still going to run that Jackal. Don't go to Strip. Stop it. You've
If at
gone
first
here.
You don't succeed.
I swear, Crying has gone here 5 rounds in a row, 6 rounds in a row. Like everything.
I don't think every single round. I don't think he
It
was there when they
feels like
defended
it.
CC the first time.
Locate a bomb and defuse it.
And then I want to say round 3 he might not have been. No, round 3 was when they defended CC. I don't know. Anyways, but you know what has been happening consistently as Cryan going to Strip, is Kettering going, or MSU going to Strip. That is like where they like to make their entry. They are even bringing a Montaigne, because they are so prepared for a Strip play from Cryan, but somehow, through what I think could only be divine intervention, he has been moved to not play inside of Strip. And a fascinating adjustment from Cryan. And now he'll have to try and find his interrogations elsewhere as Revenant.
What?
Alright. Take him off Monty duty.
You have
It's not how you play Montaigne.
I know it's a new ability, but you now have the ability to free look with shields. You don't need to pivot towards these areas anymore. That's really brutal, because you take away what usually is considered the tip of the spear for attacks. I think that I'm quoting Lynx when I say that usually a Monty is designed to be the front of your push. It's not a part of it. It is the push. And without that, what is the plan for Biohazard? Obviously, you still have that Jackal. You're maybe able to hunt down some players. You still have the Ram, which will be able to destroy Kitchen and that hallway. But it makes everything so much slower. Which going after these roamers, going for the site, is all going to be so slow and chunky. And Crying, even though he misses shots, like, it doesn't matter. Because time is still ticking down.
Very much an enemy of MSU Blue. This a basement attack. Alright, there goes. Case could be confirmed. I don't think it will be. There, his teammate's right there! His teammate was right over towards the freezer entrance, and he just walked away instead of shooting the guy that ran outside. It is a comedy of errors this round for MSU Blue. 40 seconds to go. We need to hit basement. We're trying to clear second floor. We only have control over Strip. Cryan's just killed someone with a shotgun on Caveira, and he'll just fade away because he can. And you were talking about playing the time. Well, no situation in which it is easier to play the time than 30 seconds left, and you are here. As a matter of fact, he's even ring around the rosied to eventually get control over Strip Hall. So it is inevitable. He will always make an appearance towards that part of the map. And he might even get the interrogation, just actually gets a flat-out kill instead. Curiosity, the only one left. He gets it down.
5 seconds left.
He gets it down.
He gets it down.
He gets it down.
That's it.
He didn't.
Not
He
a
wasn't feeling it today, I guess.
So.
And Kettering Academy will end up going 4-2 after a 2-1 lead from MSU. It kind of fell apart towards the end of the half.
Yeah. Ugh. It felt like it went from coordinated, calculated destruction of the room very early on to just a lot of people throwing themselves in, hoping for the exact same thing, and Kettering adapted. Crying initially did go to the strip club, but fell off because, you know, if you play in the exact same spot over and over and over and over again, your opponent's eventually going to read into that, and then you start to play mind games. You're like, am I there? Is this all just a complete, like, reverse psychology? Whatever, I'm completely turning myself in circles here talking about this. But clearly, Kettering Academy, they had the upper hand when it came to what I believe is the mental. Like, they simply outplayed their opponents in that strategy department.
10 seconds to go. 5 seconds to
Well,
insertion.
defense. Maybe it'll change. Maybe
Attackers must
they'll
locate
look like a
and defuse the bomb.
team reborn. as MSU Blue opportunity to go to their first objective. They pick Cash and CC. Something that's definitely more common in ranked and in collegiate with these players who really only play ranked. Maybe some of them aren't super familiar with the comp scene. But I think toward the higher levels of competitive, as you move up and up, it goes from a pretty good site where you can try and force the attack into bottlenecks to a very hard site to win from your point of view. As Bandits still allowed on walls, though this time it's MSU Blue who are doing the tricking, not being tricked. And Sour has got all 4 of them out. He's just shuffling them around as the EMPs come through. And I don't think this strategy is working for KU at the moment. MSU might be able to get it.
Nope.
How is he alive?
I think because it was like directly above him and he was crouching.
Ooh, nice shot.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Realism, look, we like to toe the line between realism and fantastical in Rainbow Six Siege. Ark has gotten a little bit of info that there's a roamer over by Edge Room. That's Amsim, as she might be a little bit of a bastion for MSU Blue, but Sour's going to be able to get that kill, which will take a lot of the pressure off these other players, but it's always a back and forth. The trade game has been very, very good for Kettering, and with Amsim stuck in this corner, no real way out, she's kind of made her own coffin. She has to get the kill or simply die trying. Crying's going to take the gunfight, win it, and now Kettering have a great way to create a pinch.
good way to create a pinch, and it seems like it's only a matter of time until they can. Top red player, not even allowed to pop up. He's taken down by Crying before Chop can have a word with him. And it's just left to Sour Twist. He's been a great fragger all day, though. And he's going to move towards top red. Chop can watch both angles, but not simultaneously. No more C4 on Sour, though. So the play to go downstairs, quickly aborted. And now a 1 versus 2. Infamous is going to be the contact here, and then Chop can try and swing. But instead, he doesn't look for Infamous at first, and then tries to go for the full wrap. But Infamous swings very proactively, and will take that kill. And Kettering are able to go up 5-2 on MSU Blue.
We're reaching the point of no return. Happi. Kettering have got to attack CCTV, and then if they win that, MSU Blue are just kind of stuck because there's nowhere that can be gone. The basement, the gym, everything is going to be just easy access for Kettering. And I'm surprised that MSU wouldn't try to adapt from here on out. Granted, that's not something that they've kind of done overall. They've conformed over a very long period of time, like an entire half, where they eventually adapted to going to strip. But here is the point where you would probably go to gym, go to the basement, sites that are at this stage in Rainbow Six with the meta, with the defenders and the attackers that are in play, is just better for the defense. We see Pro League teams go here. We see Tier 2 teams go to gym and basement rather than the CC side. And even though Azami is in play and will most likely no longer get banned compared to the likes of Solus or Fenrir or Tuberal, it still doesn't make it as good as some of these other sites.
Well, they want to go back to CC anyways, in spite of the struggles. Bold strategy. We'll have to wait and see if it works out for them. As Kettering, in round number 8, fresh off a round win for themselves, didn't necessarily struggle too heavily with getting the wall open. As Chop, that's not going to counter the tricking. They brought a Thatcher. This time they bring a Callie, and that's still the same problem when it comes to dealing with bandit tricking. Mute Jammer put on the wall.
We are playing the nice game of
what is happening? I am so everyone. So this wall is just.
He got it.
Oh yeah, he got it off. Sour was hesitating just a little bit too much. They get it
Mental
off in a
game.
minute. So Chop tries to bring a Callie to counter an active bandit trick. And it works, but it doesn't because the counter to the bandit trick was just the bandit himself. And now there is Biohazard stuck inside a bathroom. waiting seemingly to die, or for an opportunity rather, to take some kills through the wall. Nice shot in the Revenant. Eventually, Cryan will trade though, and we're left in a 4-on-4.
Good little way to die there from Biohazard, as you're seeing the current Azami rework in play. With the F2 used to destroy those barricades, Sour Twist is going to be able to put MSU in that man count lead, with Chop seeing the player up top, and now you could get a great little pinch from the player on the outside and the player down below, but Chop only has that sniper rifle. It is kind of dangerous to pick someone who does have that full auto gun. Yes, it is only the ACS, but compared to everything else, it would just be better for Chop to hold down one of these sight lines while somebody like Arc or Infamous is able to push up and provide some sight lines. But they're kind of anteing up for the push, and Infamous, he doesn't see anybody, and you can tell he does want to push in, but that would require such a risky play.
MSU Blue look like they've got the upper hand for now. Still with that garage control, but it's not the garage control, but rather the top red control that will get them their first kill of this execute. Second one going to be found on the player coming in through cash, and now it's just left to Arcbad. A mistimed execute where one goes, and then a couple seconds later the next player goes, and Arc was just kind of sitting here hoping he'd be given an opportunity to frag. Is not. Technically could have killed Curiosity, but he wasn't really going to win that gunfight. And it would seem that Kettering were not really going to win that round.
Yeah, kind of gotta go at the same time. If a player's gonna walk in from the breach, gotta hop in the window. You gotta provide one angle for that defense to look at, and for it to be the wrong angle while another player is directly watching them. I think for Kettering Academy, they are in the ability to maybe make a little bit of mistakes. They are up now 5-3. They do have that one map win, and if they win one more, they will go into overtime, which guarantees you a couple more rounds of your own. Now Kettering Academy, they're going to have to, what was a Cav got swapped back onto the Soulless, so you're still going to have that Roamer, which makes sense why you would want to bring the Jackal, because if you shut down Curiosity, make that focus onto that basement, of which you can start to get the floor a-chopping with Chop Skeleton Key. At Kettering usually will have the advantage from there on out, but requires a lot of ifs. You gotta take down Curiosity first, and Curiosity has just been a slippery little fish.
He has been. Kudos to him. Him and Sour are both playing pretty well all so far today. Sim has been doing alright. A lot of impactless frags on Oregon. Typically Am the last one left standing in a lot of those situations. But this map has definitely been putting in the work, finding a lot of solid impact. But overall, MSU Blue just on their attacks didn't feel like they had the coordination that you would have liked to see. In this case, their defense is looking alright so far. A little too soon for me to make a proper verdict, though. This basement defense will tell us a lot. If this is a win for Kettering, it feels as though the game is done and dusted. Even though Kettering on their own defensive half did manage 3-round wins in a row to bring it back to a 4-2 half. Feels like that's a very different team that we've seen a lot more out of. That I don't have that same confidence in Blue quite yet, but this is a solid way to start. Sour Twist able to get 2 kills via 2 separate kinds of explosions. The Capcan Trap and the C4 are able to start things off in MSU Blue's favor. Revenant and Arc Badman will not be in the picture anymore.
Crime does get a couple of X-Kairos on that hatch, and Sour Twist is gone. So you don't really get too much loss there. Surely Curiosity has not been found out up on this second floor. There doesn't seem to be any indication from Kettering that they do have to focus up on this top floor, so either Curiosity can simply hold out here, you wait for a prime opportunity, but nope, there's that drone. I'm a little confused why you see that drone and then peek it, shoot it out, when you could just simply avoid it and give that reason of suspicion of like, hey, there might not be a player here. That is a beautiful evil eye.
Yeah, I like that a lot. That tells you that MSU Blue are down, but they're trying to play into that, you know what, let's see if we can outthink the other team. And I like that a lot. I was talking about that a little bit in map number 1, where it was like, you gotta learn as a Siege player, what can I do if I feel as though I cannot do anything in the frags department? Well, try and catch them off guard is a great way to win some gunfights. Curiosity's been winning his fights regardless, and he's able to win that one without taking any damage himself. Takes damage from a different angle, but like you said, another EDD is going to get another kill, and Infamous is now alone against the Tides. First battle is Curiosity. He's able to clear that hurdle, excuse me, but not super convincingly, and he's only got 15 seconds to work with, the lowest HP of anyone on the server. Couple shots from a Maestro camera would do him in pretty satisfactorily. Whether that's a real word or not, you decide. Another kill for Infamous, though, but now they know where he is, and this player in the back of Armory should surely have him dead to rights. It's AmSim able to get that frag and bring MSU back to within 1 round.
All right, now things get a little spooky for Kettering. Because ideally, what you've seen from the last map is that Kettering are a little bit better at shooting most of the time from MSU Blue. Gonna have a quick timeout from Kettering, and I'm not, excuse me. I do like this. Because, you know, we have seen a couple of rounds from MSU Blue, but it's not a massive snowball. You're not seeing 4 rounds like Kettering were able to string along, even going into their second half. It's enough time where you can give yourself a little bit of a break while realizing that there is something that does need to be solved. And I think part of that still is that roam clear. Curiosity did not get caught out, and eventually they just kind of threw away any chance in that round. Most of it, obviously, was the Capcan traps, because they lost 2 people, 2 Capcan traps, which, you know, really shouldn't be a thing. Which now, of course, Kettering Academy will be like, hey, look down, shoot the cat, do not die to the Capcan traps. I am begging you. And with that 60-second timeout, they're going to have to attack a bedroom gym to put themselves on match point.
Well, it's definitely an interesting prospect where Kettering ACAD maybe looked like they were getting a little too silly towards the start of their defensive half, but now it looks like they legitimately may end up needing a map 3 out of the series if MSU Blue keep up this solid performance we're seeing on their defensive side. I think part of what they struggled with last round was not having fully cleared. That'll be a little easier to get away with on this objective. You can kind of just take some cash and CC control. Granted, you do have to hope that you don't get exploded from below or die to a Capcan trap like you did last round, but there are ways to deal with that. But even still, regardless, you can still take that control and then maybe set up some flank watch, and then you'll be alright, at least for the most part. So, again, Kettering ACAD don't necessarily need to go for that full roam clear, and they can kind of mask that flaw in their attack, their ability, or lack thereof, to clear the map in its entirety while attacking this objective. So, if there's been a round that they could win, I think this is the one. And then, you know, you set yourself up pretty well for some of the ones in the future, and that's a great start as Arc Badman's going to take down Curiosity.
Alright, so surely Curiosity doesn't get any more kills in the round, right? Right? That's definitely not something that can happen, though. You got
IQ. IQ would really help.
Yeah, you've got the Thatcher in this time instead of something like the Cali. It's gonna be opened up. What is AmSim doing? It's being broken open. You have to have the assumption that there's going to be a player directly watching the window, but just kind of too consumed by getting potentially a rotate open. A lot of odd decisions, as now a lot of the round is getting put into the pocket of Dirty Dan. You can hold cash, maybe get something done, but they're actually getting shot through that drone hole, forced to flee for their lives and potentially not live very much longer. Shotguns will not do a good enough range from that range, and things are just getting worse and worse for MSU Blue.
C4 out for Dan, trying to make something happen, but it's actually Sour Twist who's able to make some kind of a play and bring this even just a little bit back for MSU Blue. Chat now down. No more Bravo drones to deal with. However, Chop, been having a little bit of a rough map. The only person on Kettering who I would say has been having a rough map. Crying, a little scared. That was your teammate, though. And Kettering starting to make their way towards the objective, actually inside it for just a moment. And I think Revan is actually still in there. There's currently a flank being attempted by Sour Twist, and Dan is still inside of Cash, but the whole bomb site has been given to the attack. And now, Ark's got 2 kills for free from Windows, watching those players that are too far away from site rotate back, or at least attempt to rotate back to that very site, and Kettering now on match point.
Kind of expected. Kettering Academy finally quelling the masses and actually making good use out of that timeout. You could tell that there was a lot more calm and collected. They were able to take advantage of the MSU Blue and really put on display their mistakes, especially for you and I, because there were a lot of times where it felt like Kettering Academy would usually fall victim to certain things that MSU Blue were doing. They did play a little bit back and made it so that MSU Blue's mistakes were brought to the forefront, which then was a reason why Kettering were able to take advantage of that and gain map control and a man advantage. One last time, you gotta do it on CCTV. You've done this before. And you're still in a zombie with that ACS-12, with the ACOG. If you get to a similar position, you have to be on time. You can't trickle in one-on-one like we have seen the previous time that Kettering was here, and something that seemed to be maybe a little bit changed in the previous round, but that is kind of postulation. We didn't see an actual site attack, just a lot of roam clearing.
Oh no. He's back. Once again we see Sour Twist back on the casual CC wall in his natural habitat. Trying to see if he can bandit trick once again. Made it about a minute in, most often. This time around, he'll be lucky to get that far. Surely they've got to be onto him. They're bringing Crying on the buck as well. It would seem that Bandit might get shot from below without realising, oh, they've got the fire as well. Ducks out of there. Escapes the predators. And there goes Chop getting one. I apologize for that. It's curiosity. I was making a little document. I was making a documentary of his natural habitat because I just thought it was funny that he keeps trying. Definitely the best job we've seen though at countering the play on that CCTV wall. That goes without saying. And Curiosity's also dead too, so a great start for Kettering.
The Twitch drone's going to be there as well to destroy anything that might help MSU Blue overall, whether it is those Black Eyes, whether it is those ADSs. But with Raptor's control given up, there's not a lot of hope here because you're not going to be able to do much besides sit back in Red Stairs, sit back in Cash, and try to get things done. Dirty Dan has no idea that there's a player's raft, and that might be the bell tolling that this one could be over in about 30 seconds.
Yeah, I would imagine. Good kill onto Chop. Man, poor guy just cannot catch a break this map, but everybody else on his team is on cloud 9, and they've just hit round 7. They've just won 2-0. 5-0. A flawless record thus far through the season for Kettering Academy. And it is absolutely their best game yet so far this season, or at least one could make the argument. We didn't get to watch their earlier games this season, but on paper, yet another dominant performance from Kettering Academy, trying to show the world that they belong in some higher up conferences, because man, they didn't